Hello, everyone. I'm Andy.
Yeah, I'm Mark.
Again, snacking.
Still. Yeah, I feel like I was doing gardening at 8 o'clock this morning.
That's lunchtime.
For you.
By 8 o'clock, I didn't do it this morning, but I'm sort of moving into my new apartment.
Yes, I do.
And by 8 o'clock yesterday morning, I think I'd already done 2 trips.
All right.
Moving stuff and playing around. I was going to put the lights up in the ceiling yesterday in the hallway, kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom.
And the plugs don't fit.
There are no plugs. These mingy motherfuckers have just basically left the wires dangling from the ceiling with the plastic block. I've never known anything like this. The whole system for hanging lights in this country sucks anyway.
But I wonder if is there a hook?
There is a hook, but the only reason that's still there is because it's screwed into a fucking
the ceiling.
beam above.
Yeah, exactly.
I swear. I mean, all right, in England, maybe they take the light bulbs when they move, but to take the plug hole that your light plugs into is just so fucking wrong.
Yeah, I know. It's a bit crazy and dangerous.
Yeah, because now I have to get up there with a screwdriver.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm an idiot.
True.
Anything could happen.
You're right. I might not hear from you again. They'll just find you frazzled, hanging from the ceiling in 6 months' time when someone finally decides you've gone missing.
Like, fucking hell, he's only been here 5 minutes and he's barbecuing already.
Exactly. But the takeover went well of the flat.
Yeah. There was a problem with the fridge because, I mean, obviously, as an Englishman, the first thing I did was put some milk in the fridge and turn it on.
I thought you were going to say beer in the fridge, actually.
No. You've got to have your tea. So I put some milk in the fridge. I turned the little twisty thing to like 50% just to see, just to check, and then the next morning I went in and the milk was a solid lump of milk ice.
Oh, really? So you turned it a bit too much?
I thought so. So anyway, I turned it off, left the door open just to let it sort of get room temperature. And then I turned it on like 10% something, put the milk back in for it to defrost overnight, went back the next day, solid block of ice.
Oh, really? So it's super cool regardless.
So, I mean, the thing is there's no temperature reading inside because it's obviously far too complicated to have some kind of thermometer.
Now, on the basis that you're a bit of an idiot, are you sure it's not the freezer?
Well, when I pulled open the drawer, of course it's not the freezer.
That would be pretty classic. If you call them in, the fridge don't work, that's the freezer, sir. You idiot.
We'll get this. I went to the office because it's walking distance, my local Vaktmästare, and there's like 3 guys work there because it's quite a big estate, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, no one was there, so I called the main office in Skellefteå and gave the girl a laugh because she thought it was highly amusing that I was worried about my milk.
Yeah.
But anyway, she said she'd report it and someone will respond within a few days.
Within a few days, if your fridge isn't working?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not life-threatening, is it?
I suppose you're not there yet, yeah.
And they don't necessarily know that, but Anyway, I go back, start pottering around with some other stuff, and like literally 3 minutes later, there's a ring on the doorbell.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So the guy's outside. I went, fuck me, that is efficient. And he said, I was passing anyway. He said, let's have a look. And he's looking, and I told him what had happened, and he's thinking, that's fucking strange. And he's like, he turned it back to halfway. I said, is that the normal setting? He said, yeah, that's how it should be. I said, because that one is how it froze in the first place.
Yeah.
Anyway, it transpires that the thermostat in the fridge is dangling on a wire, and it's usually hidden behind a shelf thing on the back.
Yes.
But somebody has pulled it out and stuck it in the little sort of drain hole below.
Yes, yeah.
And it's taken its temperature from that.
Which is the room temperature. So it's constantly trying to... All
yes.
Right.
So that's what's happened. So and I said, look, it wasn't me. I want to make this crystal fucking clear. Although I am an idiot, I'm not a complete moron. I wouldn't even know that the thermostat was hidden behind there.
Yeah.
Anyway, hopefully it's all back to normal now. It hasn't, I mean, it's still sort of crunchy, the milk, because it's defrosting slowly, but it seems to be defrosting anyway.
Good. So, yes, you've taken possession. And when are you moving your bed and sofa and things?
There's already a bed and sofa pour Platz.
It came with the flat?
No.
Oh, you've already done it?
Me and Robin did a run earlier in the week.
So is this going to be the last production from the old house?
I don't think so. This computer and the desk will be the last things to go. I still have my bookshelves to move, my TV bank, and all the stuff that's in this house.
All right.
So it's a process, but it's a process that I chose.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be under pressure.
No, exactly.
So we've made a plan for Tuesday for the big stuff.
Yes.
And yeah, Robin as well said, oh, the computer desk. And I said, no. I need the computer where I am. And until I've moved the cats, I can't move the computer desk.
And does Robin have a trailer?
His Ferenning does, where he lives. They have two.
Really?
One like horse trailer size, covered, and one open one.
Really?
And you can just use them. You just put your name on the list and book it for the day.
That's pretty useful.
Yeah.
So do they have any guest apartment?
They do have a guest apartment, £400 a night.
That's good to know. It's something that's sort of a bit typically Swedish, but it is so amazingly fantastic that, Alex, where he lives, they've got 3 guest apartments.
Yeah.
And, to be able to stay, as I do in Gothenburg, for 300 kronor a night, I mean, it's just...
Yes, bonus.
All right, so how far is it from Skellefteå?
From where I am now, it's like 15 kilometres, I guess.
So it's the same as Solleren to Mora?
I guess, yeah.
And is there public transport?
There is, maybe once a month, I don't know. I've never actually seen the bus. It goes past my house here.
Right.
And I've lived here a year and a half, never seen the bus.
All right. So what is the name of your village, if you don't mind giving it to me?
Burio.
B-U-R-E-O. With the 2 dots on the end.
No. With the O on top.
A with the O on top.
Yeah. A with the 2 dots is E.
No, it's not. Oh, no. Sorry, A with the 2. I said O with the 2 dots is
Yeah, no, but it's not an O. It's an A.
It's an O.
What?
Yeah, okay. Bureau.
O with 2 dots is
Yeah, exactly.
And A with 2 dots is E.
Now, because you're a Swedish citizen, may I ask you what you did on Swedish National Day?
I had a fantastic window wank, celebrating my neighbours, giving them one last go before I take my window wanking elsewhere.
So this was obviously while you were watching the King's speech.
Oh, does he do a speech?
He does, actually. And in fact, he doesn't like speaking. And, he gave a nice little speech. He doesn't want to talk to the peasants anyway. Well, it was absolutely bucketing down. He was standing there and he looked like a drowned rat, poor fellow.
I must admit, I did... I sort of slacked off a bit yesterday because of the rain. I went out twice, once to the apartment and once to do a bit of shopping, and then I thought, that's it, I'm just Gonna lock the door now.
I was building a house yesterday.
I thought you'd given all that up.
Yeah, I'm just helping a friend. My son-in-law's brother.
Oh, they're passing you round like a fucking fancy chick.
No, he's a very helpful fellow. He helped a lot in Izzy and Johan's project, and he's helped me a lot with lending me his wood chopper machine. I would like to add.
Yeah, I could lend you
and it's actually quite good fun. I'm absolutely amazed how things have moved forward. The last time I actually built a house from, loose timber was 6 years ago now.
Is that how long ago it was?
Venus, yeah. Ylva's house was about 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago. Now, 2018 it was 7 years ago I actually built it. Now, you can order the timbers all
Pre-built.
pre-cut. Not pre-built, but pre-cut. So it's like an enormous IKEA thing. But the cost is absolutely minimal. It's like £1,000 to cut 1,500 kroner, 15,000 kroner, to cut everything to length. So it's just like everything's labelled. It's just like a jigsaw puzzle. It's taken us 2 days, only 2 days, to put up the whole of the stomma, the frame.
That's bargain, I guess.
So things have moved on. I'm not saying I'm more tempted to do another project, but yeah, that because I when I did Venus, I think it took me 2 months to cut everything to length, all of the cutouts, all of it. It's just
that's a lot of time save.
Exactly. So anyway, so I'm doing that. So actually, the frame is up. We're going to do the what is it? What roof trusses? Is that what it's called in English, or is that American?
No, it's a very American.
Yeah, roof truss is American.
Roof
joists.
Well, it's just the frame.
Roof joists.
Would be ceiling joists.
No, not ceiling. Anyway, whatever. Takstolar in Swedish. We're doing that next week. So that's kept me busy. It's been absolutely shit weather, though. I've been working in the rain.
Well, how do you think it's been for poor old Elon, jobless Elon?
Now, had they had their TIFF a week ago, or has it all happened in the last week?
Basically.
It's literally happened in this week, isn't it?
Yeah, he got. I think he went to work on Monday morning, find the locks changed, and his access control doesn't work anymore. They probably asked him for his MAGA hat back at the gate.
Did anybody ever find out where he got his black eye from?
I reckon Trump tried to put his cock in it.
Well, how could you bruise someone's eye with that little mushroom?
Well, he couldn't use his hands because they're too tiny. Hey, come here, I'm going to skull fuck you.
No, but for that situation, that relationship, I mean, it happens to everybody associated with Trump, but
of course,
for it to have deteriorated that quickly, that publicly, I mean,
well, it's all over money as well. I mean, imagine the world's richest man and the world's biggest scammer arguing over fucking cash.
Well, I wonder if it's possible. I'm sure that Musk's wealth is intrinsically tied up with his shareholdings of SpaceX and Tesla.
No, Tesla is tanked. His money comes from Starlink.
All right, exactly. And I'm absolutely certain, the way Trump acts, that he could take over Starlink for national security reasons.
Oh, absolutely. Because it covers the whole of the world.
And therefore, there's a chance that Musk could end up with nothing. All his wealth just disappears overnight.
Yeah.
And you know what Trump's like. He's such a child. He might, I'm going to show him.
Yeah, and then I'm going to freeze his bank accounts.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make him pay child support,
Yeah.
even if they're not his.
Well,
Everyone in the world gets £30 a week from Musk now.
Yeah. Well, when you think about it, I'm surprised ICE hasn't contacted him. He's an African American. He's got 14 children.
Yeah.
He's now unemployed, technically. I'm literally surprised they're not going to...
Yeah, they should send the masked men around and just put him into a South American jail.
So, one thing that I read the other day, that fellow Garcia, you know, the one with the not MS-13, with not MS-13 tattooed on his hand, he's back in America. He's being brought back under arrest for trafficking illegal immigrants. Now...
How?
Well, just think about it.
He was in prison.
No. This is before. So just think about it. All he needs to have done is have his cousin, who's an undocumented fellow in America, all he needs to have done is driven him from wherever he lived, Minnesota, to Oklahoma.
Right.
And that is...
Trafficking.
I
mean, they're not going to give up on this, are they?
Well, of course not, no.
No one's going to turn around and say, oh, we made a boo-boo.
Well, no, clearly not.
Unbelievable.
It's America. Welcome to America. Who would still go there on holiday?
The land of the not-so-free.
No. Yeah. Anyway, so yes, Musk. I wonder if Musk is actually in possession of the Epstein files.
He would have definitely got his grubby little fingers on them at some point.
He raided every other department in the whole of the US government. So why wouldn't he be in possession of the Epstein files?
That was basically his mandate, was to dismantle any government department that could stand in Trump's way. And he did it successfully. I mean...
He did indeed.
Fair play to him. He destroyed American democracy.
So I wonder what's happened to all of his... didn't he have 5 10-year-olds working for him in the Oval Office?
Probably.
Musk, I mean. Have they gone as well, or are they still there, do you think?
They're probably in school now.
They're back in school.
What a weird situation.
Isn't it crazy?
Anyway, talking of weird situations.
Yes.
I think we should get into this week's subject.
Already? Are you sure you can last 40 minutes?
Oh, it's not enough.
This is not going to be a double episode. Double what?
This could go on for 10 episodes, but you won't let me.
Oh, dear. Oh, no, I won't mention it.
No,
there
it's
was
not.
Something pertinent to your interests was in the news this week.
Really?
But I don't want to mention it.
My
just
interests?
say MM.
Blue M&Ms?
MM.
Oh, Megan.
No, Madeleine McCann. They were searching.
Oh, yes. Again, a complete and utter waste of money.
I knew I should.
I mean, as soon as I saw that, I thought, oh, here we go again. How much more money can they throw down this bottomless pit of useless money? What a waste of time and effort.
Who did it, Andy? It was so obviously who did it.
The fucking parents throw money at that.
You are such a twisted individual.
But how many more times are they going to try and pin it on this guy? They cannot do it.
Was it related to this fellow specifically?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Would you invite him round to dinner with Hannah?
It's not the point. I don't know him. Why would I? I wouldn't invite anyone round for dinner with Hannah.
You spend most of your time defending him.
I'm not defending him.
You are.
No, that is as twisty as it gets.
What is this thing?
You're not fucking baiting my hook.
Anyway, let's get on to this weird situation that could go on for 10 weeks.
Right, Madeleine McCann. No. In fact, this could be quite relevant.
Oh dear, why?
We're going to talk about
Psychic?
glitches in the Matrix.
Hmm.
Experiences where people have been absolutely 100% sure of something, and weirdly or strangely, it turns out not to be, or to be something different. And
Are we talking about photographs of people who appeared, they're 80 years old now and they appear in photographs 140 years ago?
I mean, it could be something like that. That is definitely a glitch in the Matrix. I've got one particular that is very weird, and I've got several other examples of
that are just
smaller
nonsense
happenings. They're not, well, you might say they're nonsense, but it happens to people a hell of a lot.
Has it ever happened to you?
Well, I've had time slips.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I've ever been party to a glitch.
Well, I think you probably have seen it happen or heard of it happening and just not really made the connection.
A deja vu is about as glitchy as I've got.
Yeah, that can be quite weird as well, depending on what it is, what you're experiencing. I mean, anyway, let's get straight into the big story, the one that sort of caught my interest. This is mostly from Reddit that I'm getting these stories.
Oh, no.
What do you mean, oh, no? Reddit is a great resource.
A great resource for nonsense and bullshit. I was so disappointed when I discovered that under the pyramid structure was just a complete and utter nonsense.
You're still butthurt about that, are you?
Well, only because it would motivated my interests.
It's not actually been proved nonsense.
What do you mean it's not been proved?
There is something under there.
But no, there isn't.
There is.
But there's no evidence
Between
for it.
the bottom of the pyramid and the hollow earth, there is a structure.
Exactly.
Okay, so this was posted 5 years ago, in fact, by a chap called PM Me Birthday Dogs.
Okay.
And there is a fairly recent update, which is why it piqued my interest. So it starts, I am sorry if this is the wrong place to post this. Mandela effect doesn't allow personal stories, only stuff with proof.
What's the Mandela effect?
That's where you post the weird stuff that you have evidence of.
All right. What's that got to do with Nelson Mandela?
You've never heard of the Mandela effect, where you have a perception of something and you suddenly realise it's something completely different?
No.
Okay, never mind. We'll go into that in the State of Mind episode that will come up later. So it's quite a long one.
Quite a long what?
Story.
All right.
This Wednesday, February the 5th, 5 years ago. So 2020.
Lockdown?
On the way to work, I went to my usual gas station. I go there every day, 5 days a week. I go in and everything is different. All new drink stations have been installed and the food area is completely redone. None of this was different on Tuesday morning, and I couldn't believe that they'd redone the whole station in one night. I then go outside and I see that 2 gas pumps are completely gone, and there is mulch bags stacked up, taking up all the space, and none of this was there the day before. I then leave and head to work and somehow turn on the wrong street and I get lost. And I've been driving these neighbourhoods for months and suddenly I'm lost trying to find my job. I get to work a few minutes later and I'm panicking. I know it's silly, but I've always feared changing timelines. My fiance and I have a timeline safe word so that we know we're together. I call and ask him and he has no idea what I'm talking about. We just talked about it at the end of January and we've had it established for a while. I've even woken him up at night and asked him after having a nightmare, and he's known. But now
Sorry, is this a girl? I just want to know if it's a girl or a boy.
It's a girl, yeah.
Right. So she's worried about getting onto a different time plane or something.
Yeah,
so she has a safe word with her boyfriend, like sort of overly violent sex sort of thing.
Yeah, to make sure they're both on the same planet,
Cuckoo
the same dimension. Wobbly ears.
To check they're on the same timeline.
Hey, don't judge.
But you're not. I mean, you've only read a paragraph of this thing, and it's already just unbelievable.
No, but it's not unbelievable.
No, there are no buts. It's just nonsense from the word go. I have a safe word to check we're on the same timeline.
Anyway, now he has no idea what she's talking about.
Ah.
So then the girls start coming downstairs. I work in an addictions group home. Oh, it all comes crystal clear now, does it?
Absolutely. Crystal clear.
And one girl keeps saying how confused she is and how nothing makes sense today. Later in the day, I heard another girl saying all she wanted to do was cry and she had no idea why. Then, while running errands, I go down the same street I always do, and suddenly there are 4 houses gone and a grove of trees in their place. I've never seen them before, and I really started freaking. They're next to a building that my family owned for the last 20 years. I know this neighbourhood. My final straw was talking to my mum today. She said my sister was going out tonight with her friend Jenna. I've known Jenna since 2003. I asked how much longer until Jenna has her baby, because she's pregnant. My mum went silent and asked what the hell I'm talking about. She says she's never been pregnant. I look her up online, nothing. I asked my sister just a half an hour ago, and she laughs in my face and says Jenna is infertile and will never have kids. I literally remember the day my sister told me she was pregnant. She told me to guess who, and Jenna was my third guess. What the hell is happening to my life? So, there is an update. I really appreciate all the support and kind words people have had for me. This whole experience has been very scary. As for a few questions people have had, it's getting hard to keep up. I'm going to try and answer them here. I've already taken an extensive online schizophrenia test on Friday night, and it said that I'm fine and very low probability of schizo.
Sorry, you can do an online schizo test?
Yeah, have you never done one? I did one last week. So did I.
I mean, talk about warning flags.
Look, I took this is quite true and quite amusing. I took an online IQ test the other day, just out of boredom.
Yes.
And it was a little bit too easy. And it was about 25, 30 questions or whatever. And every now and then it would flash up. You have answered better than 96% of the people in blah, blah, blah. And at the end, it had 2 people. There was Steve Jobs, there was me in the middle, and there was some woman, and she was like 113. Steve Jobs was 160, and I was somewhere between. And it would cost me 11 kroner to find out.
Exactly. I was going to say.
Yeah, see you, mate.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to this. So she took her online schizo test, and apparently they were both fine. As for CO2 poisoning, I have no gas in my home or in the home I work in. Everything is electric. Because that was a possibility that she was hallucinating or whatever. I opened up to my fiancé and had him read this. He knew it had happened, but he didn't know how upset I was. I asked him if I'd shown any signs of mental instability. Well, she is a woman. Sorry, girls. Or Alzheimer's. I'm only 25, and he said I've never shown any signs, only some mild anxiety when things get crazy. Lastly, with the safe word and things leading up to the day. We created the safe word mostly as a joke after I read the Berenstein Bears theory, which I don't know, so I can't enlighten you. And I had a really weird day at my old job. It became more used when I'd have nightmares and when I made jokes. The day before was a normal Tuesday. Wake up, work, home, eat, sleep. And the only thing strange about that day was that I thought I'd heard a scream or yell as I was falling asleep. I blew it off and still kind of blow it off as some sort of sleep paralysis or dreamy moment. So, what happened to her? What happened to the gas station? What happened to the houses next to her family's building? Did she cross dimensions? Well, come on then. What's your theory?
What?
Apart from mental.
It's just a work of fiction that someone's posted on Reddit to get likes or hearts or something.
No, you don't. They don't do it like that in Reddit.
Oh, I think they do, actually.
No, Reddit is
posting anything on any subject.
Reddit is a grown-ups forum. Don't do it for likes.
Why don't we ask ChatGPT online what they think of the story?
I would never talk to AI.
Why?
Because it would take my voice and mimic it and pay me no fucking royalties.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you didn't like that one?
Well, is that it?
Yeah, that's isn't that enough? What do you want? Doctor Who arrives in his TARDIS and whisks her off?
So she's just relating that one day she got lost.
No. One day everything in her local area was different.
Yeah, well, because she got lost. She found herself in a 7-Eleven 500 metres up the road and she didn't recognise it.
No, the whole gas station was different.
Why do you go to the gas station every day? Is she addicted to petrol fumes?
To buy a chocolate. She passes it on the way to work. So
at the drug rehabilitation centre.
Maybe she goes there to get her coffee.
I mean, it's not world newsworthy, is it? You're not going to see that in the national newspapers.
Well, if it happened to you, then it would be world newsworthy. I mean, imagine if you went down to the harbour and your new harbour wall was actually not there.
Ah, now that would be spooky. You're right. That would be spooky.
And you know that you built it, but nobody else remembers it happening.
Yeah. You know, if that happened, I would be pretty spooked.
Yeah,
but the chances of it happening after 64 years on this 64 years on this planet,
164
is pretty slim. All right, so that was the good one, was it? That was the in-depth analysis of glitch in the system.
That was the major one where actual physical things were noticeably different.
So the petrol station changed. She lost her way.
4 houses disappeared from where.
And her sister had become pregnant when she thought she'd been infertile.
No, her sister's friend, who was pregnant in her first reality, was infertile in her new reality.
So it wasn't even her sister; it was a friend of a friend who they met over the garden wall one day. Who happened to talk about someone that they'd heard of in a local newspaper store.
I am absolutely not rising. Okay, so William at VSA, and this was only 10 days ago.
Who's VSA?
VSA could be Virgin from South Africa.
Oh, that's his name. That's his handle.
Yes, William at VSA.
All right.
It could be something San Antonio.
Yep.
San Andreas.
Yep.
I'm sure it's Virgin. Anyway, this happened this evening and I'm extremely confused, says William. The story involves me and 2 friends. I will call them Luke and Ned. Now, if you're going to make up names for people, Why would you come up with Ned?
Isn't there Ned in The Simpsons?
Yes, Ned Flanders. We were all on a night out. Ned drinks, but Luke doesn't. I only drink very rarely, and tonight I had 2 drinks over 6 hours. Lame. So I am sober, and was so when this happened. This night out was not a drunken pub crawl. We simply went out to view the city. When we were heading back to our hotel, Ned says he wants a burger, so he'll see us tomorrow, and he walks into a fast food place. Luke and I decide that we'll wait for him anyway, because we don't want to make Ned walk on his own. So we walk to a convenience store across the street and then go back to standing outside the fast food place waiting for Ned. We see him waiting for his food, and we make a joke that he won't even notice us when he comes out. He grabs his food and walks towards the door, and that was the last I saw of him. The fast food place was on the corner of the street, and each direction when you exit is a long open street, and we were on the left corner. After a few seconds of waiting for him to pass us, we walked to the corner to look down the right side of the building. Nothing. We turned round and looked back down the left side, thinking he passed us without us seeing. Nothing. He was gone. We thought he went to the toilet, but when we looked, there was no open toilet inside the shop, so we just decided to walk back to the hotel. It's important to note that from time to time, from the time we saw him walk towards the door and us deciding to walk back to the hotel was maybe 20 or 30 seconds. It wasn't long at all. It's easily a half-mile walk from there to the hotel. I've lost myself.
Oh, no. How embarrassing.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you've experienced a bit of a glitch. You've lost yourself.
It's my eyes, actually, more than anything. My eyes are glitching. It was easily half a mile walk from there to the hotel. It was a single open street, and you could see anyone walking on this street. Ned is quite a noticeable person, I'm guessing chunky, so we couldn't have missed him at all. Luke and I are discussing how weird this is, and we wonder if Ned was going somewhere else before the hotel. We then decide to call him. Luke speaks to Ned very casually, saying, "What's up? Where are you?" Ned says that he's near the hotel, but we aren't even halfway back at that point. He would have had to sprint to the hotel to make it in that time. We hang up on Ned because I'm actually freaking out at this point, and he starts texting us asking what's going on. A minute or so later, he says he's in the room, and we were still 5 minutes walk away. Ned then starts automatically defending himself, saying he's got long legs and walks fast, which I found odd because we hadn't outright questioned him getting to the hotel before us at that point. I'm very confused by this. The timeline is extremely off, and there's no way that we wouldn't have seen him on that street. He's also not the type to sprint anywhere. It might sound silly, but I'm convinced that Ned walked through some form of glitch.
Or portal.
Yes, a portal in the Matrix.
Are there any portal stories where people walk through a door and find themselves in the Sahara Desert?
I'm sure there is. You can find anything in Reddit.
I was going to say, that's the thing. How do you just sort of search for weird stories and this stuff comes up, does it?
No, I just searched for glitch in the Matrix. And there is actually a subreddit called Glitch in the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
You can, literally you can type anything into Reddit and there will be a subreddit. Yeah, but that's the thing
these days because, anybody can literally think up anything.
Yes, they can, but also you've got to remember that takes effort. Whereas relaying a life experience is a lot easier. So you have to admit that at least the people who write this believe what they're writing.
But how do you know they're not just written by bots or AI or something?
Because I personally telephoned every one of these fuckers and interviewed them live on air on BBC Radio last week.
Because that's the That's the thing these days. How do you know whether something's real or not? I mean, to the normal person, you can't. They're so sophisticated that even videos you can't tell
Yeah, I
what's
know.
AI and
And
what's
that's a
real.
problem. That's a real
So
problem.
that written text must be the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, but unfortunately, when we see this with novels written by AI, you can always tell because it doesn't have the same. You can't feel the soul of a novel because there's no soul been put into writing it. It's very mechanical. It doesn't. It can't make you feel the same way a book written by a human makes you feel.
Hmm.
It will maybe get there one day, but it's not there yet.
Well,
Okay, you will like this one.
why? What's
It's
it about?
Well, firstly, you're going to like the name, Imaginary Direction.
Right.
And this one starts, I'm 22 now, but this incident has stayed with me so clearly that I remember it better than most things in my life. And this happened when I was around about 17, and I wasn't intoxicated or dreaming. I was completely aware and conscious during the whole event. I'd gone to visit my aunt's house with my mum. She lives in an old government apartment building, the kind that has 5 or 6 floors, with identical and old concrete walls and staircases. Her flat was on the 3rd floor. At one point, I decided to go downstairs to look at some newborn puppies. After watching them, when I started climbing back up, I remember passing floor after floor, but nothing looked familiar. There were no markings or floor numbers, even no apartment gates, just some repeating walls and stairs. And it felt like I'd climbed a lot more than just 3 floors. And then suddenly, I reached the top of the staircase and everything changed. Instead of the usual floor and doors, I saw what looked like a school corridor. Not the school corridor we have in Indian high schools. I'm guessing we're in India. A long hallway lined with lockers, just like the ones you see in American high school movies. It was brightly lit and completely unfamiliar, and there were kids inside who felt like they were not Indian, going about it like it was completely normal. I just stood there on the staircase, shocked. This is a bit portally, I think. Staring, wondering what are these kids doing here and why this old building has something that looks so clean and new. I remember very clearly a young black girl looked at me from inside the corridor and waved and said hi. She smiled like I was supposed to be there. I didn't respond. I was frozen. Then I slowly turned around and walked back down the stairs. And as I climbed down, the same old staircase returned, the usual old walls and layout, and as soon as I passed one more level down, I was suddenly at the familiar 3rd floor again. Everything was normal. Out of confusion, I went back up again, and this time it was just the 4th floor apartment. No corridor, no lockers, no students, and no black girl waving. I even asked my aunt later if there was a school nearby or if the building had any sort of renovated section. She had no idea what I was talking about and said there was nothing like that, and she assumed I was just daydreaming. But I know I wasn't. I still remember every detail. I've had dreams, I've had hallucinations, me too. This was not one of them. This felt like I slipped into another version of reality for a few minutes. I have no explanation for it, but it happened, and I haven't forgotten it ever since. Didn't really have the courage to discuss this with anyone because they would call me crazy. Was this a time slip, a dimension bleed, a liminal space event, or something else?
I'll tell you what struck me in you reading these things.
My diction, my perfect English.
I was going to say it's actually along those lines. So that was supposedly an Indian who wrote that.
Yes, and I didn't do the accent.
But what's interesting, and have you picked up on it? The grammar, sentence construction, vocabulary are similar across all of the ones you've read today. It's the same type of writing.
Yeah, but
Then
they're
if
speaking
you had
from...
written those three, if you had read those three things, I could have imagined straight away they were written by the same person.
Yeah, because they're written point of view of the author. So, of course, they sound similar because it's
No, but
people
I'm talking
relating
about
their own
literally
experience.
the way they construct their sentences and such like. It's all the same.
So are you saying that imaginary direction 1 is me puppy was something, whatever?
No, I'm saying that all of these things are AI generated.
No.
You could ask them, you could ask ChatGPT, give me a quick story, 500 words on, what did you call it, glitches in the Matrix. And they would come up with these sort of things, and then people post them. And that's why the language is so similar.
The thing is, there are comments, and the comments are replied to by the original poster. So, well, the AI would not be able to manage that.
Yes, I think they would. If they can write company reports, didn't you see that thing in America where, who's that fellow, Kennedy, commissioned a report, a Maher report, some medical something, health of America, whatever. And it turned out to be AI written. And all of the, not all of them, but a lot of the scientific references, this analysis was done in 2006, was just completely fake. So
Not
they're
surprised.
able to actually, AI is able to produce government reports. So to answer a comment, Alex has two-way conversations with ChatGPT all the time.
Why?
As does
He's got
Uber,
a wife.
Yes.
I mean,
no, but you know what I
surely...
mean? Don't you sense it, though? There is something weird. Literally,
No,
I mean,
but
I'm not a grammar, I'm dyslexic, as you know, but I can tell that the vocabulary and sentence structure, it's all similar.
Yeah, it might sound similar, but it's not only because it's written from their point of view, but it's also because it's me telling the story.
Yeah, that I do. Your intonation and such like is obviously going to be similar. But
I mean,
these aren't real people.
Of course they're real people.
No, they're not.
Don't try and wreck my podcast. This is fucking real.
I mean, I think it's equal. I think it's more strange, as we sit here talking about it, that in fact, it wasn't written by a person with what was the medical condition, schizophrenia.
Yes.
I think it was written by AI, and then you end up having a two-way conversation with someone, AI.
Robin asked me the other day why I don't have an AI girlfriend.
Yeah. And you said you're perfectly happy with the blow-up variety.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I keep letting her down, but she still keeps coming back.
That's quite a good joke, actually. I keep letting her down. Oh, dear.
Okay, let's try
Where
you with
did you
another.
get that from? Did you literally dream that up on the spot?
I've actually told you that before.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, but luckily because of your senility, I can do it every week.
I don't remember these things.
Okay, this comes from II Crystal, brackets, not AI.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, that's her name, AI Crystal. Oh, I see.
II Crystal.
II Crystal.
Okay, this was posted actually yesterday.
So what? It's more real.
There's a good chance that she's listening. Who knows? Okay. I've only heard of glitch in the Matrix stories from YouTube videos or read posts off Reddit. I never fully believed them, one of yours, but I always wondered what it would feel like if something like that was real. Well, I think it just happened to me. I was coming back home after a picnic with my friends. I hadn't slept much the night before and was planning to cancel, honestly, but I always do that. So this time I just wanted to show up. In the end, I did enjoy it, but the lack of sleep started to hit me hard around about 5 o'clock.
It's the same author.
It's not. It's the same voice.
It's not. If you think about the way the sentences are constructed,
They're literally laying the scene out for you so that you know where they are, what they're doing,
I'm not
and
talking
how
about,
this
well,
affects them.
exactly. It's like there's a beginning, middle, how to write a story, beginning, middle, and end.
But it's the only way to write out an experience
No,
like
it
this.
isn't. Normal people aren't that gifted to actually have a beginning, middle, and end to a story.
You obviously hang around with some real
Well,
special people.
it took me 3 times to get grade D on O-level English language, which in fact technically isn't a pass.
No, it's not a pass.
C was the lowest grade. So I've never passed English language O-level, but that's probably down to my dyslexia rather than anything else.
A for advanced, B for basic, C for can't, just made it, and D for dimwit.
Oh dear.
Okay, so I took the metro back, but instead of catching an auto home like I usually do, I don't know what that means. Is that an Uber?
That's a glitch in the AI program.
Oh, yeah, that'd be it.
An auto home.
I decided to walk. Thought it might help me beat the sleepiness. The road from the junction has restaurants and grocery stores on both sides, very familiar path. At one point, I need to take a right turn, and there's a chicken shop right there.
It's the same person.
No, stop. No one wants to hear you keep repeating that. We'll have our listeners turning off.
Well, you keep repeating the same thing.
There's a chicken shop right there, and next to it is a grocery store called Farm Face, probably owned by Jeremy Clarkson.
Could be. Let's hope so.
So I'm walking, scrolling through my phone. Typical. See, that's not AI. That is a typical teenager. When I catch the exact smell of hens, that nasty specific smell that always comes from the chicken place, I instinctively look up, and yep, there it is. Cages of chickens out front and Farm Face right beside them, glowing with its bright signage. I remember staring at the sign for a second, trying to remember if I needed to grab anything for home. I was tempted to get a coffee, but I knew if I gave in, I'd just stay up even longer. I needed a shower and sleep. And that was
Sorry, where are we now?
I'm guessing we're in India still. If you've got a chicken shop.
I was going to say with live chickens outside.
So I take the turn.
Yeah.
Is that your phone or your doorbell?
Yeah. No, it's my phone.
Oh. Don't let us interrupt you.
Yeah.
So a little ahead after I turn is the flower shop. And I noticed they were unloading a bunch of plants from the truck. And that caught my attention because they don't always do that. And I made a quick mental note to remind my dad about getting some new plants for the house. The smell in that spot is usually like muddy and leaves, earthy and kind of comforting, like a garden. I keep walking, still on my phone, and then, out of nowhere, I get the chicken smell again. The flower shop usually smells like wet cold mud and green stuff, not hens, so I look up, and it's Farm Face. Again, chickens. Same glowing sign, same smell, same spot. My heart dropped because I'd already passed this. I know this stretch of road by heart. I didn't turn back. I didn't loop around. I just kept walking straight. And yet here I was again at the exact same space. I was panicking inside at this point. My heartbeat was so loud that I could literally hear it in my ears. I was trying to think of a logical explanation, but nothing made sense. To test if I was losing it, I took the same right turn again, and sure enough, the same flower shop was there, unloading the same plants from the same truck. It was the same moment. I have no idea what happened. Maybe I was just too sleep deprived, but I swear on everything I did not walk back. I didn't turn around. I kept walking straight. I've walked that route 100 times and this has never happened before, and I hope it never happens again.
I hope she wasn't sleep deprived.
You know she was sleep deprived, but she saw the truck unloading the plants in the shop the first time and she saw it again the second time.
I mean, I'm overwrought with being convinced that this is real.
I mean, If you are sleep deprived, it is possible you can hallucinate. Depends how sleep deprived you are, I guess. Okay, here's
I
one. Here's one that you can relate to
yes.
because this happens to you every
What is
day,
it?
and it's from someone called Juicy Gargoyle.
Juicy God.
It's a genuine username. I was in my morning routine, listening to an audiobook, drinking coffee, and setting up to do my makeup. It could be you. I'd already washed and prepped my face, so I was ready to get started. As soon as I looked in the mirror, my heart stopped for a second. I saw myself looking back at me. However, I was old. I'm currently in my 30s, but in that moment, I'd say I looked to be 60 odd years old. My eyelids were more hooded and droopy, and I had wrinkles on my forehead and around my mouth and eyes. I blinked and nothing changed. I still looked old as fuck. I stared at myself in disbelief for at least 10 seconds. It wasn't until I turned away from the mirror and looked back into it that my face was finally my 30-year-old face. It was too strange. One reason being I had just washed my face and did my skincare in the mirror in my bathroom, and my face had looked completely normal then. Another reason is that it lasted long enough for me to really take a look and examine myself. So I don't think my eyes were playing tricks on me. What the actual fuck happened? Glitch in the Matrix or what? Truly a weird experience. Maybe one day when I'm old, I'll look in the mirror and see my younger self looking back at me.
Maybe.
You're not impressed with that one? Come on. A 10-second look at your
What
future
I
self.
want is what was that film? He's a crap actor, but that film with Nicolas Cage where he's a city.
That would be Nicolas Cage.
A city slicker who chooses he sort of wanted to see a different life, and he marries that very attractive blonde woman, and they have children and things.
Oh, he made a couple of those things, didn't he? Didn't he go back and he was in a band or something, and he wrote, or she went back in time, and Nicolas Cage was in a band, and
maybe
he was shit, and she gave him the lyrics to one of the Beatles songs.
Oh no, that's different.
She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. And he said he came back and changed it. He rewrote the Beatles song. It was he's made a few of those bad movies.
Anyway, the thing is that these are all what you want. A real glitch in the Matrix would be witnessed by several people.
Okay, well, I have one.
You don't.
I do. This comes from Starry Shapes. Genuine username.
Obviously.
Me and me mum were out walking our 4 dogs near an obelisk monument not too far from where we live. And there's basically a rectangular patch of grass with a wooded area surrounding it. And it's part of an old woodlands and hills that stretch for quite a long way. It was autumn, but not that cold. We got to the edge of the woods, and the temperature suddenly dropped significantly. As we ducked under a tree and entered the woods, and this really harsh wind whipped up, which we both commented on, and then it went really still, and we walked in. We'd been there multiple times before, and we noticed that loads of trees had been torn as if something had flown into them at the top and broken them in half. Branches and the tops of trees were bent over and hanging down, freshly broken. When we went round a corner, the whole tree was down with the roots exposed and fresh soil uprooted, all exposed at the roots. The dogs were super interested in it and just were doing doggy stuff around the loose soil. We were really shocked at what a mess it was, how cold and quiet and eerie it was, and how strange it all felt. We carried on walking, then left the woods, and there was a noticeable temperature difference. Again, we commented on it. It got warmer again. The following day, we came back, and everything was different. The tree that had fallen was gone, and there were just brambles there. The broken tops of the trees had all grown back and scarred over and got lichen and moss on. Branches that had fallen were nowhere to be seen. It literally was a different experience. The atmosphere felt completely different too. It was such a strange experience. We still talk about it to this day, and I'm so glad it was shared. So there you go. You can't say that her mum's a liar.
The mum that obviously doesn't exist. I mean, no, seriously, I've had enough of this. It's just people making up stories.
It's not. You have to have faith in humanity somewhere.
If I don't have faith in Jesus Christ existing, why would I have faith that some nonsense story on Reddit is true?
Okay, now, you would trust your wife, wouldn't you?
I don't have one. Would you trust your wife, Andy?
No. Anyone stupid enough to marry me.
Exactly. That's my point.
Okay, well, we'll wrap it up with this last little story. And it comes from Buggy77.
Ah, yes, I know Buggy77.
Literally posted a minute ago. It says
that
here,
is spooky.
I mean, it is, because we've been talking for an hour.
Exactly.
And I had this on my screen for an hour, so we've just gone into the fucking Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. We're part of it now.
Okay, this happened this past weekend. I was in the kitchen with my kids. My husband was working outside on his truck. I'm guessing the kitchen's inside a trailer, but I'm not going to judge.
No, why do you think that? Could be a kitchen.
He's got a truck.
Yeah, but no. I think, what is it? 40% of Americans have trucks or something.
Okay.
They don't all live in trailers.
According to my TV, they fucking do.
Yeah, but that's because you only ever watch that one TV programme.
Breaking Bad.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that one.
Okay. I heard a knock on the garage door leading into the house, so it's a double wide. And I looked over and I saw that the door was locked. I naturally assumed it was my husband trying to get in. So I opened the door for him and he's standing there smiling and holding some tools in his hand. And this is where it gets a bit weird. I expected him to walk in or say something, but he just stood there. I was in the middle of doing something, so I said, "Are you coming in?" He didn't answer, and a few seconds passed, so I just shut the door and walked away because I thought he was trying to joke with me. About a minute later, he opens the door and walks in, so I said to him, "What the hell was that? Why did you just stand there and not say anything or come in before?" And he claimed that he never knocked, never stood at the door with his tools in his hand. I told him to stop kidding around because it was quite scary for me, but he swears he never knocked and he stood there smiling in the doorway like that. I was getting upset and told him that if he was messing with me, it wasn't funny, but again, he swears that he didn't knock or come to the door. He thinks I hallucinated it, but I'm not so sure. Nothing like that has ever happened before. Could it be a time glitch, a dream, even though it was the middle of the day and I was up and walking around? Or could he have somehow blanked out and then walked over and knocked but doesn't remember? Not sure how to explain it, but it's eerie.
It is eerie.
It is eerie.
I'm going to have nightmares about that story this evening.
I want pictures.
What of him standing there with his tools in his hand?
Or just the wife.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, that was my last little glitch in the Matrix story.
Yep.
I'm sorry you didn't find it as fascinating as I do. But, shit like this does happen on the daily to people, real people, not just AI.
No, I mean, I'm sure it does happen. But it's obviously in people's heads. Anything can happen inside people's heads.
No, but there was one story. Why I started in on this was I was listening to another podcast and they mentioned this chap who woke up one morning and his whole life for the last 10 years was basically erased. And he was in a new life with a new wife, a new house, a different family. but he remembered every detail of the previous 10 years and actually visited places that he remembered that in this life he'd never been before, but he knew exactly where everything was supposed to be. And he just literally, he'd lost 10 years of his life in his head. The last 10 years was completely vanished. And he came into a completely different life. I will try.
That sounds like the sort of podcast I would like to listen to.
I will try. Fuck you. I will try and track that. I will try and track that particular story down because it sounded really fascinating.
Weird. Amnesia.
Well,
what's the opposite of amnesia? Remembering things that don't exist, that didn't happen.
That's not the opposite of amnesia. Amnesia is forgetting everything, basically.
Yeah.
But remembering everything is eidetic, I guess.
Is there a word that describes when you've got a perfect memory, a photo memory, photographic memory?
Eidetic memory, where you can remember the page number that you read a sentence on a book.
All right. Luckily, I don't have that.
I would like it.
Nah. To remember everything.
Yeah, why not? You would never. I mean, school would have been a breeze for you. You wouldn't have to study anything. Just read something once, and it's there forever.
So, if you live for 50 years and you've got that type of memory, how would that compare to a computer memory? All those video memories, all those page numbers and sentences and words, what sort of computer memory would you require to hold a similar amount of information?
A lifetime of info. Quite large.
Would it be?
Quite large storage space.
What? You could probably get it on a phone, though, couldn't you, these days?
Oh, no. No. If you think about it, when I upload a video to YouTube, it's usually about 3.5 gigabytes, I guess. And that's only an hour long. Anyway, we've wasted enough of our listeners' time, clearly.
Yes, indeed.
But
yes,
thank you
good
for
glitch
listening.
in the matrix. We like that.
Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the stories more than Mark. And if you did, let us know, and we'll do it again one day, even if it's just me, because Mark can't be asked to turn up.
What do you mean? I'm here, sitting
I know,
here.
But I get the feeling that if you knew what was coming, you would have probably cried off this morning.
No, it's just I find the days when we do Reddit stuff just a little bit thin. That's all.
I don't know. I
the
find
most interesting aspect for me we've already covered today.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't read Reddit. I don't look at Reddit.
No, I don't generally browse Reddit, but as I say, this other podcast I was listening to caught my attention with that story, so I thought I'd have a look.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Anyway, that was episode 194. We are inching closer to the big 200.
The big 200. Do we get a prize for that?
Maybe a day off.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah. All righty. Good. Anyway, well done.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. And keep tuned. And we'll see you again next week. Don't forget, you can support us at patreon.com/strangestuffpodcast, where you can get extra episodes with me and Richard talking about grisly murders and stuff. And also having a bit of an inappropriate laugh, unfortunately, at some of them.
Indeed.
But we can't help that.
Yeah.
Follow us on Facebook. And just have yourselves a strange week. If you do get a glitch in your matrix, please write in and tell us about it. And if you'd like to suggest any ideas for episodes, you can write to us at strangestuffpodcast@gmail.com and leave us any comments you like. Again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you same time next week. Bye for now.
Cheerio.